Hattie and I am back with part 2 of Precious May's Tudor home. So this is the whole of the interior of the video, and this is the bit that I was really looking forward to. What I also did is I changed the light. So what I did was I kept switching back to live mode. So as you see the light now, it looks a little bit yellowy on those chandeliers. But what I did was when I changed it to live mode, it made it look really white or greyish, and it gave a really nice modern look to the house. And I think I'll use that for future builds that I'll do, especially for modern builds. I think that it will really give something more to the house, especially if I want it to be a white clean house. Then I won't have a yellow dim light. It will be very white looking, and I think that that will really help me improve my future builds. What I was doing though is after I just put in all the wallpapers, I was then decorating the hallway. I went with some really large curtains, and then I decided against them because I found some better ones which looked a lot nicer and they matched a lot more than those do anyway. And then what I was doing is I was into the hallway bit, and I always like to have a flower arrangement as the Sims enter the house, just because that's something that I do like in my builds. And what I did as well is I put a chair in the hallway area because I wanted lots of seating places in this build. And that's when I quickly switched it to live mode and I changed the lighting. Now I unfortunately had to do that with every single light, and I had to keep switching back. I mean, not every single one, but after I'd left it for a long time, I had to keep going back and changing it really, and that was a real problem. And I hope that eventually that will be something that we can opt in or opt out of if we want to do that. But that was what I did, and I think it looks a lot nicer like that, and you can definitely see the build more as it is now, and I just like the overall look of it. So I will definitely be using that technique in a lot of my other builds coming up on my channel. But I was onto the bathroom. I wanted a really basic bathroom in here. I think my favourite bathroom was the bathroom upstairs, which I think looks really special by the end, and I did something quite unique with the toilet, and I just didn't see it coming really. I didn't think that I would, and I think it's this build that I did it on. I'm not sure. I've been doing so many videos recently. I've been doing so many builds, all my ideas just completely merged together, so apologies if it isn't. What I was doing though is I was adding a long rug into the hallway here. I wanted to go for a white look, and then this was the lounge. So I wanted the lounge to be very big, and I also wanted it to have that stone paneling in the room, and I wasn't sure how much I wanted of that stuff in here, and I knew by this point that I didn't want it on every single wall. So I did change it in, I think, maybe a couple of minutes. You will see me do that. I was adding some moving objects cheats to this. So what I was doing is I was merging some of the objects together. I love doing it with fireplaces. I can't remember where I found out how to do this. I think maybe just experimenting with different objects and putting them together, and that's what I really enjoy doing with The Sims. So I think the moving objects cheat is something that I did use in this build. I did do in the study, I think I can remember this. I did a really nice board of different things, a picture merged with a mirror and other items on it. So hopefully you'll see that towards the end. I will be able to show you that. I was then just adding some final details around the room, like bookcases. I also wanted to include a yoga mat, because I love the fact that the Sims can do their yoga almost next to the TV. I don't know if they'd watch TV whilst doing yoga. I don't know if that's a thing, but if it is, that would be amazing, because you could have the fitness channel on or something, and you could make it look as if they were watching it and figuring out what to do on there, because that's what a lot of people do. I don't do that personally. In fact, I've never done it before, but I've really wanted to do it for such a long time. And what I do instead of that is I use on the PlayStation 4 Just Dance, and it's amazing. I do it with my fiance, and it's just the biggest laugh ever. We have a really fun night. Whenever we're not going to the gym or we're doing stuff, we sometimes go on there together, and they have some really fun songs on there. We love the Bohemian Christmas song. That's an all-time favourite of ours. And I think it's just a load of fun. So I think that that would be nice for the Sims to have something like that in the house. I also put in a chair so that could be used for massages and things like that. I don't know if you can run a business off the chair. I just don't know if you can do that in The Sims 4 because I've never got that far. I think the reason why I haven't got that far is because I trained at college for 2 years doing beauty therapy. So I think for me to do something like that, I knew that at the end of college, after the 2 years, I think I was 16 and I was 18 when I left. I then realised that it wasn't for me and it's not something that I wanted to do. I think a lot of it was this woman came to the college and she really put me off because she was working on a cruise ship and she was the manager there, and she was horrible. She was really, really nasty about the whole thing. She basically sat us all down and said, you think you're going to get somewhere? Well, you're not. And she gave us a real eye-opener of what it's like to work for 16 or 17 hours a day and get paid under minimum wage, which was really, really low, and you have to be working a very long time for what you were doing. And I think it just put me off. So I didn't decide to do beauty therapy after that, and I actually went into nannying. But I think, which is completely different, but I think for that, I don't know, I really do enjoy the spa day stuff pack that we got, or no, it's actually a game pack. I still like it, but I just don't think that I would want to follow a career track. If you can do that, I don't know if you can be self-employed. I don't think I'd do it myself, but I think it's still fun to have in the houses. That's why I include it. And I don't know, maybe if the Sims were hiring somebody to the house to get massages and facials and all that stuff, then yeah, absolutely. Fine with me, but I don't know. I just don't think it would be very fun for me to make a Sim self and have that. But by all means, you can use my Sim self, and you can do that with my Sim self if you want to. I know quite a few people do have my Sim self in your games. I'm going to create a new one actually, because my old Sim self does not look anything like me. I really need a good change around, and hopefully when I do that, it will look a lot more like me. So anyway, what I was doing here is I was on to the kitchen. I just skipped all the study, so apologies for that. But this was the kitchen in here. So this was the room which I was feeling very excited about. I wanted to have some counters in here, of course. Why wouldn't you? But I thought for the middle of the room, I would have something where the family could all sit down. I would imagine a family of 4 to live in this house. And I think that this house would be a modern family, so it would be a family which doesn't just sit down on a Sunday night and play board games. I don't know how many families do that, but I definitely did that as a child. So I definitely say that that would be a traditional family activity to do, you know, play family games and all that stuff. I would imagine this family to be very into their electronics and their televisions and their computers and DJing. I think I included DJ Sam, but I can't remember now. But anyway, that was the kitchen flooring I did in there. So it was very different to what I usually do, but I actually really liked it like that. So I was happy with it. And if you like it, then please let me know, because I love experimenting with different floors that I can use in my builds. And I think that I am slowly improving it. So I was happy with it, and just let me know what you think in the comments below. This was when I was putting in some curtains. I wanted to put in some cream curtains here. I thought it would go nicely, and we can't really have much colour choicing with the curtains in The Sims 4. It's a little bit of a shame, but I would really like some silvery curtains, but we just couldn't have them, and I couldn't find any which I really liked. So I think after I changed all the lights again, that's when it really made a difference, and I think that the curtains will show up slightly differently in the light anyway, so it wouldn't really matter too much. But this was the upstairs. The upstairs, I wanted to have a very grand overhang because I'm really into overhangs at the moment. I also noticed a little bit of lurking ivy on the inside of the build. So excuse that for a second, because I delete it in a little bit and you'll see that. This is the overhang here. So I like to make sure that there are no lights below, because I don't like lights below the overhang, as it will make the lights look as if they're floating and it won't look natural. It would have been perfect for Hogwarts. Why didn't I do that for Hogwarts? I have no idea. I should have definitely done that for the Hogwarts build, and oh my gosh, I need to go back to it and redecorate it now, just for that. But anyway, this was the upstairs hallway bit. And what I was doing is I was trying to think about what I could put around the overhang, and maybe I could put some bookcases in, maybe I could put some more seating, and I think that's the general idea of what I went for in the end. And I was also trying to work out which bedrooms I would want where. So I had 3 bedrooms in the end, and I had a ginormous bathroom, and then I think I had a hobby room. I had a hobby room, in fact, far left, to the bottom left, as we can see it now. That was the hobby room in there. And what I was doing as well is I was changing the light, so it looks a little bit different in the light, as you can see, and I liked it. So I think the lights and changing them around a little bit definitely helps with this build, and it just gives it a better effect. So if you want to know how to do that, then you just need to go onto live mode, click on a light, and just click all lights, because I think it was a bit fast when I did do it, and I think that it was probably a little bit unmanageable to follow that routine that I just did there. But anyway, this was the place where I wanted a piano. I wanted a piano up here because I want the family to have some features in the house which are traditional, if that makes sense, and then others which are very modern. So it looks as if this was a very old Tudor build. Maybe it's been a family home and it's been in the home for generations, and it was the grandma's home or the great grandma's home, and now the family have moved in and they've done it up to suit them basically, and it looks different. It looks as if it has been renovated, but they've also kept some traditional features, like they've kept the wallpapers, or the woods rather. They haven't painted over the woods, or maybe they have. Maybe that's the whole thing. Maybe they have actually painted over the rotting wood, and this is how it looks with the grey. But I would love to hear your backstories for this house, if you have any. If you have any ideas of who could live here, or who you'd want to put in the house, then please let me know in the comments below, or on Twitter, because I'm on Twitter as well. And if you do want to see any further pictures of what's to come on my channel after this build, then I am on Twitter, and I am also on The Sims 4 Gallery, and I post before the things come out. So before you see it on YouTube, you'll see it on those 2 sites before, hopefully. But yeah, so anyway, this was the games room. I wanted a little football table in. I wanted to call it foosball. I don't know if that's the same thing as that one. But yeah, so it's a little table for people to play on. I don't know how fun it would be, but I like it. I like that. I always go to places in Ibiza and they have little things like that, little places that you can play games on. I really enjoy ice hockey, but it's not the actual ice hockey version. It's a version where you have the mitts on your hands and you just slap it back in two. I love that. I don't know what it is about it, but I love it. In fact, that was how I lost my glasses in Centre Park, because I was so busy doing it that somebody robbed me. They actually took my sunglasses right next to me, and it was this man, and I saw him, but I couldn't do anything about it because he was already out the door by the time that I saw him. Anyway, moving on. So this is the children's bedroom in here. It's a very bright room, it's very white, and there's a lot going on in here. It's a big room, and I would imagine that maybe a girl and a boy would share this room. I wanted it to be very gender neutral because I really like that about this house. It's not got a gender to it. I mean, sometimes my builds can look very feminine or masculine, but 2 people could easily live in the same room, girl and boy, and it could be either. It really could. And I like that. I wanted the room to look really humble, so I did put in a fireplace, and I just finished it off by putting in some of those curtains. I did put in a dresser. I can't remember ever using a dresser in The Sims 4. I can always remember using dressers in The Sims 3 with The Sims, because I don't think that you could do it just by asking them to change an outfit right in front of you. I think that you did actually have to go to a dresser and do that activity, but I really can't remember. But this was the main bedroom. So this bedroom was supposed to be very grand, and I wanted to use the best bed in the game because I really adore this bed and I just love how pale it is. It's a really bright white colour, and I think it looked really good with those lights, so I was happy with this. And what I did as well is I put in some old traditional features like the wooden chapel bench, and that is the end of the build. So I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you all future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to show you the screenshots now.